All right, so I'm gonna call the December 8th, 2025 Charter Revision Commission special meeting to order. If you could all rise to the pledge of allegiance. All right, pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As we start every meeting, we have public audience. I'm not speaking. Sorry, I just laughed when you know. So just for the public's knowledge, we ask either people to submit comments in writing or speak at public audience and limit their comments to 3 minutes and to the items on the agenda. We did receive one public submission which will be on our website. And that's pretty much it. So is there anybody in public audience who'd like to speak this evening, Ms. Batos? No. Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is to approve the November 13th, 2025 minutes. I know Bert, you submitted a request for a change.
Just on page 2, there's a description of the proposal for the unsuccessful proposal for change to 801H. And I would suggest that the second paragraph, in order to make it clear that what I was doing was describing the proposal rather than the statute as it or the provision as it exists, I would say amend it to say under Mr. Helfand's proposal, the town manager, superintendent of schools, and board of education can reject these requests, or rather could request these requests within 10 days if they did so in writing that is available, etc. So I propose to make that change to the minutes.
So that's starting at line 59?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, 59.
Does anybody else have any other corrections or changes they want to propose to the minutes? All right, do I have a motion?
Well, subject to that change, I move to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thanks, Bert. Next item on the agenda is chapter 7. So our esteemed attorney, Bob DiCrescenzo and Franklin, have drafted a revision for us for this section. So Paul and I met with them. They agreed to take the section and format it so it looks similar to other sections of the charter. They've reordered it. Thanks, Jeff. Library director was added to the list of administrative officials. And what they had done is went and looked at who reports to whom, who is under collaborative bargaining agreements, who's not, all of that stuff. So if you guys want to make comments on this and let us know what your thought process on it was, so we can ask you questions, that would be great.
I don't think we made any substantive changes, we just sort of reformatted things and cleaned up the references. I think we changed everybody to an administrative official rather than what they were before. The list looks a lot easier to read. And again, we left the substantive changes up to the commission. We just tried to make it easier for you to read and consider and determine whether you want to make substantive. And I think it looks pretty good in my mind, it's a lot clearer. Looks pretty well.
I apologize because I think we discussed this before, but why have we changed the term to administrative officials?
It was just the best thing we could think of.
Because they're not directors.
Yeah, they're not all directors, some are directors, some aren't, some are statutory positions like town clerk, tax assessor, tax collector. So we thought we'd just come up with one term that covers everybody.
This is instead of administrative officer and department head.
Yeah, officer didn't sound right. I think the substance of how they're described is probably the more important thing than what we covered.
Frank, but also, do you wanna go over your chart a little bit? I mean, you did some pretty good work on that chart.
It's just pretty self-explanatory for everyone following along. Just the only thing changed from, I believe, one meeting ago or 2 meetings ago, I showed you this list to show our comparable communities who has what positions listed, and so we kept every town officer, which is now administrative official, if you accept the proposed change, we kept every single one of them. We did not take any out. So that's up for the commission to decide, but some of them most of them are unaffiliated, but we just have listed some of them that are in collective bargaining units, and that's labeled at the top with the union affiliation. Some of them are in supervisors, some of them are in admin and professional. So they're in 2 different categories of the CSCA bargaining unit, and we didn't do anything with that. I believe the commission just wanted research on who is actually in collective bargaining units, because it's not all unaffiliated, and we also clarified in the draft the reporting structure. So as we talked about last meeting, the building official reports to the director of planning. And so we made that clear just by adding, under your proposed draft, we added the section of building official, subsection 8 of section 705. We added just the language that the building official, we just said, and report to the director of community planning and development and town planner. We didn't know how else to organize it, I guess, without more guidance on how to actually say who's responsible to who. Like, we made the tax collector and tax assessor, that's a new category under subsection 3 of your proposed 705. The tax collector and tax assessor shall report to the director of finance treasurer. That's just not mentioned anywhere else in the charter, and I remember from our conversations, we wanted to clarify who reports to who. So the commission can completely scrap that and change it, ask us to do something else, but we thought that was the best way to communicate who reports to who ultimately, but it's still not clear to follow, obviously, because it's a lot of text, but that's the best we came up with as of right now.
So I have a question under building official, which is 7048 in the proposed revision. Does a building official, they're the only ones who are called out other than director of emergency management, is serving 4 years? What happens if they need to be let go?
That's by statute, they serve for 4 years.
That is a statutory requirement.
It's like the police chief has a similar statute.
Okay.
So these
Nobody
report,
ever lets them go because they're impossible to find.
Yeah, no,
so the reporting structure, is that something that goes into a charter or can it change at any time depending on the scenarios?
It can change. It's been like this a long time. The town engineer reporting to the public works director and the building official reporting to the planning department town planner are 2 examples of ones that could change. Tax collector, tax assessor don't need to report to the director of finance, but they usually do because of the similarity in the function. We try to group them by what they do and what actually work in it.
But we wouldn't be able to change it if we
It were
No,
reviewed.
no,
that's
charter.
correct.
That's right.
but it's existed like this for decades.
Yeah,
And what if there was an AI situation and you wanted to change it within the next 7 years, that could happen?
I'm waving a white flag.
No, my question is, does that need to go into the charter? You know, the reporting structures.
In other words, we could have a provision that, for example, empowered the Board of Selectmen to change the reporting structure.
Or the town manager.
All the town manager.
I totally get where you're going on this, and I agree. But I just wonder, since we've heard so much about, we're not sure whose lane this maybe a little clarity in this could help, but I mean, I'm not necessarily went into it one way or another, but we think we might wanna err on the side of a little bit more clarity this time, at least.
Yeah, it could go either way.
Right,
If we put it in the charter, though, we can't change it for 7 years.
Well, but I like Bert's suggestion that has that kind of,
Add
yeah,
a sentence
Yeah.
that,
yeah.
that there's a way to change it if necessary,
I think
but-
it needs to be, we're gonna be consistent with the rest of the charter, it should be the town manager who makes that decision of how the reporting structure happens, cause he's managing, he or she's
Yeah.
managing the town,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we've not added the HR director because that's a new position, but that reports directly to the town manager anyway. I mean, they all essentially report to the town manager.
Section 701, where it says the Board of Selectmen may create or eliminate such administrative offices and departments as from time to time. Wouldn't that cover it? Or is that too vague?
That's just the existence of the,
Yeah, it wouldn't override the reporting structure that we put in here. For instance, you could call out, they could create a Department of Finance. But if this stays the way it is, they couldn't create a Department of Finance, but have the tax collector report to the town manager, because it's in the charter that I don't think that was a sensible thing to do. The other thing about these reporting, these jobs that report, there's not much discretion in these jobs. I mean, a tax collector does what a tax collector does under the statutes. And the director of finance can't say, well, I don't want you to collect taxes like that anymore, I want you to collect taxes like this, you know. They don't, these jobs are very prescribed in the state statutes. Building officials is another one. The director of planning can't say, well, don't follow the Connecticut building code, follow the Massachusetts building code, you know, sounds absurd, but there just isn't that discretion on these jobs. So do they necessarily need to be spelled out like this in the charter? Probably not, because they're gonna do the job the way they need to do it anyway. But you do need to have somebody in charge of them, like, you know, someone to ask if you can take next Tuesday off or something.
The one that kind of stood out to me was conservation and
Just going there.
zoning compliance. But I understand what they do and it's a very important function, but so it kind of surprises me that no one else is listed as having that type of officer. Is it just because they're using other,
What is that again?
the
In 6,
on the chart here, conservation, inland wetlands and zoning compliance officer. So someone's puts a sign up that they never put the zoning for or change some, put a light on it or something that there's all kinds of things that pop up that someone has to go out there and knock on the door and say, hey, you can't do that. So it's an important function. I just stood out that it's no other town is showing that as a
Does Ridgefield have it?
position, but is that because it's combined with others
I'd
or?
rather call it something else, but most towns have a zoning compliance officer.
Yeah.
It might be done by the town planner. I can't think of a town that doesn't have a zoning compliance.
Yeah.
The zoning compliance function is performed by somebody. Cause you're right, you have to have some enforcement official that says you can't park your boat in your front lawn, you know, that kind of thing. So I don't know, did I get the chart?
Yep.
I don't know that.
It's in the packet, we reviewed it.
I printed it.
It's near the
so this chart is just,
it's right before the proposed.
it's not that these positions don't exist in towns, it's that they don't exist in their town
Sure.
charter.
Correct.
That's right.
They're not explicitly mentioned.
They're not explicitly mentioned in the charter,
Or even
so
something
these-
like it.
So it's not like Avon doesn't have a director of public
Mm-hmm.
works, they just don't call it out
As that, yeah,
as that in their charter.
that's right.
So
Which brings us to the original question that we were asked to look at, is that do we need all of these functions listed in the charter?
Oh, okay.
If I recall, the commission even discussed, even if it was rhetorically, to eliminate this section of the eliminate this chapter of the charter.
except we didn't know what to do with Bob's job.
Of course, town attorney said.
He knows.
Just one job
I've been
was the
reappointed, so
chapter.
you know.
You know, on the one hand, just from the purpose of just giving citizens clarity on who is who and what they do, it's in the charter, they can look at it. So it's valuable to have it in there for those of us who don't know these things. We look at the chart and say, what does the charter
For
say?
newly elected board of selectmen members.
Right, or newly elected board of selectmen members, that's right, because newly elected board of finance members, we know everything. So it's valuable to have it in there. However, do we need to have all of this in here? Because it doesn't give the board of selectmen the discretion to do away with anything if they need to.
Well, so what I like about including this in this way is, for example, section 702 lists these administrative officials and also explains a little about the limits on how they may be appointed and removed, which I think is worth having in the charter. And then section 701, as Paul pointed out, allows the Board of Selectmen the leeway to eliminate those positions. I'm not sure that that would cover the situation of changing the reporting structure. I think we might wanna add something to that.
Could we add a line to that paragraph where it allows the town manager to,
Yeah, I think we can.
however those words are. to-
So all that by way of saying that I think this chapter is worth having and those two provisions are, and I also like the idea, as you say, of clarifying what the various existing positions are.
I think the one thing we've discussed before is because this came up when Mark Nelson spoke to us about the welfare officer. It's just maybe moving that under his job responsibility and out of this chapter because falls on him and now that he knows he's that.
Now, does he know what that is the next question.
No, he's not on the welfare committee.
Of course he does.
Yes, but we could
But
move
he
that
should
to the
tell
town
us.
manager
For the record,
section
he
of
does.
his job
Where is
responsibility.
it now?
It's section 705 in the
705.
proposed.
Actually, I should have said, does anybody know what that is? What does that entail?
No, we didn't know no one knew what it was.
Yeah, that was what I was trying to say.
That's a CAS requirement, isn't it?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
But we could move that to his responsibilities in chapter 4, right?
Yeah.
Chapter 4.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes more sense to move it out of here because
Chapter 5.
Chapter 5. Thank you, Franklin.
Should we say what this is though?
See.
Should we have some
Yeah,
sort of, like, who gets to say what a welfare officer does?
The
What is
general
that?
there's a state
The general
statute.
statute.
I'm curious to know what
Yeah,
that is.
I thought you had said previously it was mentioned in general statutes.
Yeah, yeah.
While you're looking that up, and also on page 5 where it says B members, that actually belongs under the section 704. Instead of being standalone, I think it was just where you were putting it.
I would say it had to be
Oh,
a separate person, it just said it had, the position had to be filled by someone in the town, so it doesn't have to be a totally separate entity.
What is this? I'm sorry.
Or the welfare officer, just as a function that has to be performed by someone in the town, doesn't say it has to be another person. It's
Right, but we,
yeah.
it's the town manager's job.
So if we're going to be using the general statutes, should I'm looking this up and I can't find it. should we state which of this is it? Is it the child welfare? Is it social services? What is that supposed to be?
It's social services.
Social
Yeah,
services?
child welfare is handled through the State Department.
Would that fall instead under the social services director instead of the town manager?
Didn't notice that.
No, but I think it was someone in charge has to be the welfare officer,
Right.
not the social services
Well,
person,
which is the statute
whatever.
Yeah,
that
that is-
creates
That's
the
the question.
position?
That's what I'm looking
So according to AI, so it says here,
I
key
prefer
connect-
NI, natural intelligence.
Natural
Yes, I like
intelligence.
that.
Child welfare, social services, local welfare officers, and then institutional welfare funds. This is why AI is never going to save the world. And so, yeah, so there are four or five
Could you
different.
repeat that? Could you repeat that?
So according
Say it
to
over and over
AI,
again.
because this is not NI, this is AI. It says child welfare 17A,
No, but that's not what we want.
social services title 17B, institutional welfare funds,
17B.
yeah. Title 17A and 17B are the two things that came up when I googled welfare officer.
Yeah, if we're gonna
related
give it to the
statutes.
town manager, they should know what their
Right, what that
responsibilities
is.
are.
And we should know what this is, which I don't know.
Shouldn't there be, wouldn't it be something, if we're required to have it, wouldn't it be in Title VII?
It would be something,
That's originally where I looked, but there are other, not necessarily. There's other sections like the building officials in Title 29 or something
I
like
see.
yeah, the only things that are coming up for me are title 17A and B.
Okay.
I think it may be a term that's not used anymore.
Then do we need it?
I don't think CGS statute hasn't relinquished that.
It's not. Those are the only places I'm finding it.
Let's see, well, so
Since
And you
Well,
didn't,
well, just
Franklin, you
take-
didn't
take-
find
take
other
away
towns had that
Yeah.
listed as a position? Cause it's not on your chart, right?
The welfare officer, the research was limited to just town officers.
Oh, okay.
The
Right.
welfare officer, the town attorney, and the chief of police are listed as administrative officers. First, my research was just on town officers. I could easily do that for our next
No, we don't. No.
meeting, but the original analysis of this was from town officers' perspective. I did not look at to see what other administrative officers they had. Well, we're probably gonna tell you that most towns have a chief of police if they have a police department, unless they have the resident state trooper model. So every town with a police department has a chief of police. Is it mentioned in their charter? That's what I don't know off the top of my head.
So for this for this welfare officer piece, if it's required by state can we just agree that if it's required by state statute, whenever this state statute is found, that we include it under the town manager section? If it's not required under state statute to anywhere, to not reference it to anywhere in the charter,
I agree,
does that work for
Yeah.
everybody?
yes, yes.
Because if it's this hard to find
Right.
with attorneys, like I don't know, like
Right.
And if we
It
recommend
sounds,
something, we should know what that is.
yeah, it looks like there's a reference to, courts that authorize or direct payment of things like child support can direct the welfare department of a political subdivision to enforce the order, so I think that might be the type of activity that the welfare officer is supposed to be handling, but that's my best guess. So, 17B-743 And 17A-6A.
Maybe since none of us are particularly confident, we can ask Bob to take that away.
Yeah.
So can we just,
takeaway.
I mean, unless there's disagreement, can we leave it this way that if,
Closing in on it. 7-1/1.7 municipal advisory welfare boards, committees on needs of the aging. That's pretty close. That was repealed.
Yeah, I know, I saw that one too.
So here's municipal agents for the elderly persons, the chief elected official or the chief executive officer of each municipality shall appoint a municipal agent for elderly persons. That's the municipal, I was aware of that one, municipal agent.
And we have the senior center director, Miss Kathy
And there's
Marshall, appointed as that.
Municipal agent for children, 7-127C. Then it starts going off into neighborhood youth center grant programs and things like that. I did see something that AI sent me that only Simsbury calls out welfare officer.
Yeah, I got that too. I got that too.
I think we should put a check mark next to this and track it down. I'd be shocked if it wasn't an anachronistic title that is now encompassed in social services.
That's not the social services director.
Yeah, I think functionally,
that's what they do.
It seems where it belongs.
that's what it is. Functionally, that's what it is. It's the social services director, does all the work that you would traditionally think of as welfare officer. Like when a building burns down and people need a place to go, it's not the town manager that does that, it's the social services
Right.
office that does that.
Really the Red Cross.
Before we added the town manager, was it just first selectman was assigned?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna guess that it used to be under 7-127A, under municipal advisory welfare board, which is no longer in existence.
Okay, so
We'll take it as a legal opinion that we can,
eliminate
Eliminate it.
just eliminate it.
thank you.
And if we're wrong about that, they can always pass an ordinance fixing that.
Got it.
So we're eliminating that section.
Yeah,
Correct.
so
Eliminate it.
Bob's section now becomes 705.
And just to a point of clarification, Madam Chair, I know Vice Chair Hanal mentioned about B members, and the reason that is listed standalone at the end after the town attorney section is because I don't think we necessarily believe that that is critical enough to keep in the charter. It's basically saying all members of the police department except some personnel without law enforcement responsibilities shall have all powers and duties.
Doesn't that fall under the collective bargaining agreement and their job descriptions? Like, why do we need it in here?
I sort of like leaving that in. That clarifies that they have the statutory powers of arrest and enforcement of criminal
So that
laws.
that section needs to move back into
Back
70.
under the police chief.
So who are the members of the police department who are not clerical?
Sworn officers.
Well, but these people have the same powers and duties as are vested in police officers, so they're not police officers, so who are they?
What are the, like the dispatcher? The dispatcher doesn't have arrest authorities, right?
No,
Yeah.
well, it's clerical personnel
clerical.
without law enforcement
Oh,
responsibility.
so they don't have responsibilities for law
I think
enforcement.
this what it's trying to tell us is that whatever the state law is about the powers and duties of personnel with law enforcement responsibilities, police officers in Simsbury have that.
Yeah, I don't think that's what this says. I think this says that there are people in the police department who are not police officers, but they're not the clerical and other people that have no law enforcement responsibility, so they must have some law enforcement responsibility. And it says those people are gonna have the same authority the police officers have, but I don't know who those
I don't think
people
there are any.
No. So maybe we should revise this to say something along the lines of what you said.
Yeah.
Cause that is confusing.
I think it's as simple as
Why does it
all
need to be in
sworn
there also?
officers of the police department.
But why do you have to
What-
state it?
If it's already state, like why do we have to say, oh, it applies to Simsbury too? Well, we're in Connecticut, it applies to Connecticut, I don't understand.
Simsbury exception.
AI
Like-
says.
This would be very long if we had to like restate everything.
So
Statute.
I'm reading this in relation to the original, and the one that's missing in this language is the vested in police officers by the general statutes. Is what's missing in the highlighted yellow.
Oh, did we leave something out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
that's the one, that's the
What is it again?
By the general
by
statute.
the general
General
statutes.
But it's still the same issue,
Yeah,
because
right.
it's still giving police powers to somebody and we don't know who they are.
This was already in the charter.
Yeah, so what did you guys mean by that?
Jeff and Paul.
I wanted to
Could
take
that
it out.
could
Jeff
that be a
wasn't gonna do
leftover
it.
from like a town sheriff, or I mean, I'm wondering if that's a leftover section.
It could be something that prior commissions couldn't figure out why it was there, so let's
It's
just leave
just
it there.
left. I'm just gonna leave it. Must be
Well, so why do we
important for
even,
some
so why do we need it?
reason.
Right, we don't.
I move we take it out.
I vote we take. Can we,
Unless-
are we allowed to take it
Unless you find
out?
some reason why it should be in there, but
Yeah, I think you can move to take it out subject to review. I'll call the chief of police and say, hey Nick, can you figure out why this is? Because once you're sworn in as a police officer, you go to the academy, you pass, you get sworn in, and you're hired by a police department, you have the powers and duties of a sworn officer of a police department to enforce criminal laws.
Well, it is possible that there's some position within the department that does not have the title of officer that we'd want to have this, but I can't guess what it would be.
not the dog
Animal
officer or
control.
the animal control
Yeah,
officer?
animal could possibly.
We don't have one.
We do.
Wait,
Yeah,
but they can
I thought
arrest
they got rid
people?
of it.
No, still have one.
So they can arrest people?
I think they can.
I think they can if you're like abusive to an animal.
Interfering with the apprehension of an animal. Let me ask Nick, I'll see if he can shed some light on this.
So are we in agreement that we're gonna take it out subject to Bob's conclusion with the police chief?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing that was in question was the disobedience, so on page 4 of this section, under police chief shall, it's highlighted disobedience to the lawful orders, rules, regulations of the chief of police shall be grounds for dismissal or for other appropriate disciplinary action. Does this need to stay in the charter or not?
It's just not clear to me whose disobedience we're talking about here, because we refer to the rules, regulations of the chief of police. Does this mean disobedience by the chief of police? Or does it mean that we can dismiss police officers and animal control people for disobeying
Well, but
orders?
why would we want, I would
think that's
imagine
covered by
in
the-
collective bargaining, there's language in there about how dismissal can and
Which
can't.
trumps this.
Which trumps this
Yeah,
anyway, so
that's
I
right.
would say take it out. Because
I
collective
agree.
bargaining covers it, right?
I'll ask Nick that question as well.
Okay, so this is out, are we in agreement subject to?
Subject to, yes.
Subject to.
Should we say there's a duty to disobey unlawful orders?
Okay, anything else in this section? I think it makes more sense the way it's organized. The only other question I have, I don't know if this is like a formatting issue, when we, in 702, when we list all the things, should they be in alphabetical order?
I think they should be in some order other than this. I think all
Cause these are
the-
just random orders,
I think it just came out of the order that's
Right.
currently in there.
Yeah,
I think all the people who have the title director should be lumped together. The, what I call the statutory offices should be lumped together, town clerk, town tax
Yeah.
collector, tax assessor.
cause it then implies some sort of order of importance or.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, Why don't we?
So can you group them that way? So it's director, then statutory, and then,
Yeah, and then we'll follow that same order on page 2 where you say.
right, when you're describing things. And because 702 has letters, is it okay that 705 is numbers? I don't know if that's a formatting thing. I'm gonna ask the attorneys in the room.
I think it invalidates the entire.
The charter should be thrown out because of that.
So if you have to have a letter, you have to have a number that precedes it. That's the thing. So if you're going with A, B and C, it has to be under subsection 1 of
So then 702 should be numbers.
It should be numbers.
I think, yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. So we're gonna change those to numbers.
That's a good formatting question, cause I think there's like one other
There's
section.
another section that's like that.
Because I think under, and I'm gonna quickly confirm before I keep talking, but under the town manager section, it kind of, no, never mind, I think elsewhere that I think one naming convention would be the best, and if the commission can decide it goes letters then numbers, or numbers
I
then
think that's
letters.
usually the way it is, letters and numbers.
Numbers are numbers.
Can I just ask?
It's numbers then letters.
Can I just ask though again, on this chief,
Section number.
we are potentially taking out of the charter a sentence that says if you disobey lawful law orders, rules or regs, that you're gonna be subject to dismissal. Now, I just don't like the look of taking that out of the charter, to be honest with you, but if it's the
But
will of the group,
But if in collective bargaining it's there,
I understand that. I
mean,
just
no,
don't think it's I don't think there's a harm to say that, that's all. I guess that's maybe where I
We
land, but
may strengthen that provision in collective bargaining, you can say, hey, it violates the charter. But that may be.
It was
a reason.
continuing on before, it was chief of police shall be responsible for the efficiency, discipline and good conduct of the department, the care and custody of all properties in the department. Disobedience to the lawful orders, rules, regulations of the chief of police shall be grounds for dismissal. I feel like those two were connected together and now it's like
A separate.
it's hanging on and the other part has been moved above into other stuff.
So you're saying it probably would have been better to have it as J.
Yeah, I mean, if you stick it in that way and combine it with the others, it's kind of continuing on.
Yeah, I
That is
like
better.
that.
Yeah, I think.
I guess just,
Okay.
I guess it's just, my hesitation is in this current political climate where there is questions about following laws. I just don't want this group to be accused of suggesting that the police chief or any police officer should be disobeying orders. That's really where I'm going with my question.
Oh, at any time,
Absolutely.
at any time.
well, so then if we add it as J, okay, it really isn't the chief of police shall,
Yeah.
because
I think it probably is better in 10 as the last sentence of 10.
Yeah.
Oh, describing. Cause it's not the responsibility of the chief of police.
Maybe under
Chief of police shall have
the
grounds for
section where it
dismissal.
says the chief of police shall be responsible for, no, maybe not. It's just, I'm not sure if what it says in the current version of the charter is meant to apply to disobedience by the chief of police or by the officers he's
I think it's by
supervising.
the
I
office.
think it's
Yeah.
vague.
By the officers.
That's what so then maybe it should go in that section of where he's responsible for, you know,
Well-
F is enforcement of the laws of the state and laws of the town.
I mean, if you added it as one of those, I think it needs to be reworded, so it's the chief of police has the authority to dismiss.
Or now I'm thinking where it says the chief of police shall, GHI, and I is be responsible for the efficiency, discipline, and good conduct of the department. It might follow that naturally.
Sentence of I.
I think those,
It's right there.
maybe
that-
that ties to all of the
Separate.
shalls. So the way it currently reads, chief of police shall be responsible for preservation, etc., etc. Chief of police shall assign all members of police department, etc. Chief of police shall subject to the approval of police commission, do et cetera, and then the chief of police shall be responsible for efficiency, discipline. And then it reads, shall be where did I go? The chief efficiency, and then it says disobedience to the lawful orders, rules and regulations of the chief of police should be grounds for dismissal. Should the board of selectmen determine, okay, so that's different. So I think that's supposed to go with the previous shells, is the way I read it.
In fact,
Is it the chief of police that dismisses and does
Yeah,
the
that's different.
interaction, or is it?
The chief of police dismisses in consultation with the police commission.
Okay, in consultation then,
Yeah.
it's not just a police commission.
No,
Right,
it's
so that's,
so actually,
so maybe it wouldn't go under
in the
solely the chief of police shall.
in the current charter, that mysterious sentence about disobedience actually follows the sentence that's now subsection I,
Mm-hmm.
which might explain why it seems like a good fit.
I think it's probably a good place to put it as part of I.
if you put a part as I, you have to reword it.
Right. If you don't do these things, you're subject to dismissal.
Right,
Right. But the chief of police has the authority to do that in consultation with the police commission.
And
Is
H
that-
says
is that
he's gonna make rules and
Where is that right?
regulations.
It's not stating that now.
It's really, it's not
That's,
following H
um,
or I.
It's just dropped in there.
Is it part of the
Well, no, I think, you know, H says he's got
regulations.
he's gonna make rules and regulations. I says he's gonna be responsible for the good conduct of the people in the department. And then it says disobedience of lawful orders or those rules and regulations grounds for dismissal. So it gives him a little authority. I mean, it doesn't give him complete authority to I guess it's a reflection on the significance of those of his authority to make regulations and to give orders, but only lawful orders. We have drums.
Are you able to reword it to make a sense?
Yeah.
As part of,
yeah, because without that and it gets disobeyed,
so we're gonna add this section
General
to the end of
statutes
I.
might cover it too,
yeah.
what the authority of the police chief is in situations.
Add to end of I but reworded.
Yes.
it's gotta be shared in compliance with the Union and commission's authority. There's two other places to go.
So in this whole section, in this whole chapter, you're adding language to 701 that allows the town manager some latitude about reporting. We're changing 702, the order of the list, and we're numbering it. You're revising I under 704 to add what we just discussed regarding dismissal. We're taking out 705 and 706 becomes 705. And then we're moving that members section, we're removing it subject to review
By the chief.
by the chief of police. That's all I've heard. Is that everybody in agreement? Okay. We say we're done with 7 then? Yay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yay. Alright, so the next item on the agenda, so I just wanna make sure we're doing this legally. Okay, so we've all submitted whatever we're gonna submit in terms of changes. There's some changes that are like we need a period or we need a word added. Do we need to vote on each item or do we go over them and there's a long list, I don't wanna like vote every single time, but if we have to, we have to,
I don't think you do, I think you can just vote the inclusion of the November 14th email. Is that what you-
well, we've got some additional emails, because we've received some from Jesse and some from Jacqueline, that are in here. There's some that are not just formatting questions, some of them have some, maybe some conversation around them, so we could make a motion that anything that is like a punctuation or a formatting issue, that we just vote
Clerical revision.
clerical revisions that we're okay with, and then we look at this list and decide what needs to be discussed. Cause I don't wanna make just a unilateral vote to vote if everything on here is okay. Are we all comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Point of information,
Yeah.
Chair, for the public's knowledge, there are two documents that aren't publicized and they will be publicized after the meeting and included in the packet retroactively. Commissioner Schofield and Commissioner Malucci has submitted to me as the administrative liaison their own corrections. I did not have time to put it in the packet online, it will be tomorrow. But that is what the commissioners are deciding, because their packet only has you and Vice Chair Hinault's comments. They
Right.
submitted comments after the packet was released.
okay.
So in order of transparency, the two documents that you're reviewing are going to be included in the packet tomorrow retroactively, so the public's aware of everyone's proposed corrections. And if you get any corrections in the future, we'll publicize those as well.
Thank you, Franklin. So just working from the list that was part of the packet, which is the one dated November 14th. There was a couple of items in here that are not clerical. So I would say the first one is where it says new section 405A. So we've got a new red line version of the charter that Franklin printed out for us. So 405A. I was proposing that we add or in such other manner as prescribed in the general statute, so it's consistent with 808A, because we had added that to 808A, but it wasn't in 405A.
I thought
We had discussed it, but it's not on here.
Yeah, I thought we wanted it.
Yeah, so I was proposing, that's not a clerical thing, that's an addition. Okay, so anybody have any discussion around that, or are we all good with it? Do we need to vote on each of these items, Bob?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
Unless there's an objection or
unless there's an
discussion or
objection,
something.
right. So the next item, and this could be clerical in section 502, where Paul had brought up, we say state law in some places and Connecticut general statutes and others. We should just be consistent throughout the charter that it says Connecticut general statutes, correct?
Not necessarily, state law is broader than Connecticut general statutes, you might do state legislation, could be
Okay,
order, could be something that is not a section of the general statutes, but still has the force of law as it relates to Connecticut municipalities.
Okay, so there's rationale for having the two. Okay.
okay,
It should be thoughtful to
Okay.
review state law versus general statutes.
Some of these are questions, not really as affirmative. I'm saying,
I'm sorry, what?
so some of these points are questions and not affirmative, make a
Right,
change,
they're
yeah, so,
questions,
yeah,
right.
so can't just say. do
Well, that's why I
everything on
wanna
the
go
list.
through
Yeah.
them, right.
But doesn't anything in state law derive its authority from a statute or the other?
Could be
Could be
from the
executive powers,
Constitution or from judicial decisions.
Judicial decision,
Or
constitution,
administrative
regulation,
regulations.
which is based on state law, but it might be more definitive than,
Okay,
it's like
I understand.
comprehensive plan and zoning versus plan of conservation and development. Plan of conservation and development is a portion of the comprehensive plan, but comprehensive plan regulations, you know, everything else. I just think state law is broad enough to capture everything.
I understand.
Okay, this must have just been made because I probably put the wrong section down because this keeps changing. 502A16, I don't know what I meant by that, so I'm gonna have to go back to that because it doesn't match what's in here now, so I'm just gonna put a question mark on that for now.
Also, really, 403C, you talk about two section numbers to be verified. Was it a different section or? 403C, line 5, yeah, I could only. Let's see, there is.
We mentioned section 502.
Wait a
That's
second.
the original.
Two section numbers mentioned. It's not even in that section. It's no section number mentioned in 503C, but things must have shifted around there.
Looking at things, shouldn't on be of the duties outlined in
Where are you?
502C, the line addition. Board of Selectmen shall conduct under duties of the town manager. Performance review of the town manager. Should be performance review of the duties.
Of the duties, not on the duties.
I'm now lost. Here again.
And 502 is the town manager's duties, so that's correct. So that's okay now.
I think it's supposed to be E. When you're, cause that one seems to reference two sections.
Yeah.
You're right.
Just tracing that.
Yep, thank you. I couldn't find that.
Oh, the 503 and the 701?
Yeah.
503C, line 5 should be 503E. It was just a question anyways.
Yeah, 403.
403, excuse me.
Okay, so it should be, okay, that makes,
So
mysteries,
section 502B,
That's what we have in ministry.
we have to change that to administrative. Would we just change 7.2?
I think we've made it administrative officials.
Administrative officials. That needs to change to administrative officials. So section 503B, new A. New A.
So, yeah, it's,
First line reference is section 704.
yeah, it should be 702.
702. You see that, Franklin?
Where, could you repeat that?
503B should reference 702.
It should reference 702.
But it's a new A.
It's new A, yeah.
It's the new
Yeah, so in
A.
your red line version it's A.
It should be 702 now.
Yes. Reference section 702.
And section 6.
No, wait.
Wait, I think you got them backwards.
No.
So it's 503,
503,
new
the new
A.
A, yep,
New
we're
A.
we're all looking at the draft.
704 should be 702.
Yeah, 704
We're
should be
changing.
702.
Gotcha. Made that note right now. Yeah, it's just easier if we, just all look at the proposed draft and then
Yep.
just make the change right here.
So in section 601,
Okay,
under general,
yep,
section D, where it says all elected and appointed boards and commissions as part of the part of the rules and procedure unless prohibited by law should allow for public audience at all regular meetings. So Paul had questioned whether we need to add restrictions in here regarding planning and zoning because of public hearings. We need to, or pending applications rather, not public hearings, because public hearings always have public audience, but do we need to restrict public audience?
I think this phrase unless prohibited by
Yeah.
law covers it.
It
I
covers it?
thought that was why we put it in.
Yeah. Are you okay with that?
So what you're saying is you're gonna add unless prohibited by.
It says
No,
that.
it's already
It's
in
already
there.
As of
there.
right now, I think it covers.
Unless, okay,
Okay.
prohibited by law.
And what,
So we're not using state law, we're not using general statutes, we're just using by law. So now we got state law, general statutes, and law.
I think we just have state law and law now.
No, we still have general statutes
We still have
stated everywhere
general
else.
statutes mentioned in here.
I think we can say state law.
State law?
I can't think of a federal law that would prohibit it.
Okay.
If there was a federal law that preempted, it would preempt no matter what.
It would, well, maybe. On the one hand, but on the other hand.
Okay, so we're clear on this. This will allow for public audience
Effectively,
at
it preempts it.
zoning
It says it preempts, it preempts.
and planning unless there is it's
Yes.
regarding a public or a pending application.
Yes, in the zoning context, if I wanna go to the zoning commission and address the commission, and say, this is the worst set of regulations I've ever seen in my life, and here's why, that's okay. If I wanna go to the zoning commission and say, that site plan application you have in front of you is the worst site plan application I've ever seen in my life,
You can't do that.
why?
Can't do that.
Can't do that.
Okay.
Unless they notice a public hearing, which they can do,
Right.
but if they haven't noticed a public
But
hearing.
if somebody wants to go and say, hey, I'm complaining about all the A-frame that are out there for
Oh, don't
this
tell them what
building
I'm
or
gonna
that
talk to
building or
them.
whatever. Okay.
Yeah, and how you're,
Why aren't you addressing
why
it?
aren't you addressing these sign regulations? They're terrible.
Right.
You know, I like big neon signs, you know. you
Why aren't we addressing the neon signs that are in town that we're not supposed to have?
Right.
Okay, I'm off my
Okay,
soapbox.
but it's
State
move
law
on.
provision.
Okay.
Wait, before
Yeah,
before we
state
move on
law.
from that though, this
State law, of
reading
course.
is
It's not
Decisions.
just, you know, courtesy or some kind of.
No, it's the law, because it amounts, not to get off on a tangent, it amounts to not properly noticed public hearing. Cause if I can do it, then everyone else can do it, but no one else knew they could do it because it wasn't properly
I
noticed.
just wanna make sure we're all comfortable with this. This does read only at all regular meetings. It does not include special meetings.
Correct.
Are we,
Yeah, but
cause like
why
tonight,
couldn't,
tonight is
tonight, this is
technically
a
a special meeting.
meeting.
Any meeting that's not on your published list of meetings is, you might
Right.
wanna say regular or special.
I would say
That's-
that's a good point.
That's what I was.
It should say regular or special meetings.
Say meetings. What if you have
But
an
it wouldn't include
extraordinary
executive
meeting?
sessions. So it's clear.
Executive sessions are always conducted
Always.
at a regular or special meeting.
Right, if they go into executive session.
Well, because
no
we
public
use regular or
audience.
special meetings in our context of other things, it should say regular or special.
we don't have extraordinary.
We don't have extraordinary
We don't have
meetings.
extraordinary
We have long
meetings.
meetings.
The only other.
We're special, but not extraordinary.
We're not
The only other
extraordinary.
type of meeting is an emergency.
Fabulous meeting.
Yes.
So regular or
Regular or
special?
special, are we all good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Section 602,
It'd be cool to say
the
extraordinary.
very last sentence, we need to make sure references sections 403 and 409 are still accurate. I don't know if these sections changed. Do 403 and 409 still exist as they were before?
It's like a pirate map.
403 does, we just added.
Yeah, and it's really-
409 still.
And 409
it's now
changed, yeah.
is 410. So that should be 410.
Yep, 409.
Okay, chapter 7 is being redrafted, so we don't need to do that. Section 801. 801D. 4.
Didn't you get a memo from
We don't need to do that anymore because we took care of that at the last meeting, because I did this in November, so we can ignore that.
806? I think the final adoption of the budget occurs at the annual budget conference. So that always 2 months after the board submits its budget. And questions whether or not that 2 month threshold was met. The passage of the Board of Finance budget by the Board of Finance is the Board of Finance recommended budget, which becomes the budget once it passes.
So this can stay as written.
It can stay as written.
Okay. The next 2 items are clerical, because we need to change 2017 dates in there.
Oh, sorry, just to step back, no changes to section 806? Okay, sorry. Alright,
1001.
yep, we have that highlighted,
Yeah.
that will be changed.
So this last item on this, the November 14th list was mine. I after reading through the charter, when it talks about the absence of regular members on zoning and planning or zoning board of appeals, it doesn't state that the alternate that's seated should be of the same party. And I personally think it should be. If there's a Republican missing, when possible, I think there should be Republican seated. If there's a D missing, there should be a D seated when possible. If the R alternate's not there and the D alternate's the only option, they need to seat somebody, but they should be required to seat same party so it maintains minority.
But doesn't that have to be done anyway?
No, it's
No.
not stated in here, and that's not how it happens
It's
now.
not-
No.
It's not how it happens, which is why I'm bringing it up.
The statute says in both cases, planning and zoning, that alternates shall be seated according to a plan as adopted by the commission, which neither commission ever did, so.
Right. And I can tell you as a practice, it's not how it happens,
That's how it should happen.
but it should happen that the same party is seated when possible.
Yes,
That's why it has to be in the.
Yeah.
Why it has to be in the charter.
yes.
That's
And
a
these are
practical
elected
idea.
positions.
They're elected positions.
Yes, so they
Yeah.
have to be seated.
Does anybody have any comments about that or,
It's a good idea.
okay,
I
so
think it's a good one.
Do we
That's a
have
good
a
one,
obvious
yeah.
section?
so that, I don't know where do we add that?
That would probably be under,
God bless you. Section 303.
is that under, early on, isn't there a
It's in-
section on minority rule?
Yeah,
Does that apply to any other commissions or boards that have
Yeah,
elected officials?
they don't have alternates.
They don't have alternates.
Only these 3 commissions have alternates.
Inland wetlands zoning. So, Board of Assessment Appeals,
They have alternates.
They
Board
have
of Assessment Appeals, zoning board of appeal, so
could start by saying on those boards that have alternates.
on those boards that have alternates,
Would that be under section 203?
Or do we go up 602 for those areas, the appointment or vacancies on the boards? Cause 203 is about.
Yeah, could be, yeah.
what section,
Also
Jesse?
205,
602 or
205,
603, there's stuff about vacancies and appointments. We would stick it in
also
between.
205, which is vacancies of elected offices.
It's not really a vacancy.
It's not a vacancy though.
Yeah.
It's an absence.
And I got it.
You could put, let's be elective offices.
Maybe after 601 at the end.
But 6 is appointed boards and commissions. That creates a headache for
Oh, yeah,
you.
Yeah.
it would be under the
It needs to be
elected.
under elected.
For section chapter 3?
Needs to be chapter 3.
Yeah.
Should be a new subsection.
Yep, we have general, I mean, there's a section 301 general.
Can you add it to 304 and just, and put another like line there that,
so under what authority do they they fill a vacancy.
There's no authority, the chair picks.
I think you put it in the general.
That's the problem.
General.
How did you put it in 301?
301.
It's even 304, so that's appointed, although I'm not sure why you have elected officials and appointed boards, commissions under the same chapter, but that's 304 is appointed, so just trying to find a home under an elected section.
You either do a 305 or you stick it
Yeah.
underneath.
Described it, there's no even, that's just like almost just guiding the reader to where to find it. And
Yeah, I
if
think
you,
that's what it does, yeah.
well, what is the, if you have it labeled, if you have a table of contents, it's like, why is stuff like that
Yeah,
written as language in the charter? To find this section, go to this chapter.
What, section 304?
In
Yeah.
section,
It doesn't make any sense.
in section 304, it said, you have a section that just says members of appointed boards and commissions shall be appointed as prescribed in this chapter. So it's just stating like a fact, that
So
that's,
chapter 3 should
4.
probably just be elected officers of boards and commissions and not appointed, because we have a whole section for appointed, right?
And there's nothing greasy about appointed boards in there at
Boards and
all.
commissions and
yeah.
so
this
you-
is- that's
you're
a-
saying change chapter 3 to say elected officers and, what was? the-
Elected
Oh,
officers
I think
of
selected
boards and
officers.
commissions
Elected.
And then
officers.
delete 304.
and delete 304 and then add this alternate language.
Yeah,
Yeah, just kind of-
Commissions, because in chapter 6, it
You could
talks
say it in every
about,
chapter. If you wanna find out what the first
Right.
selectman's doing, go
chapter
back to
6,
chapter 4.
it talks about appointed boards and commissions.
back to the table of
This is
contents.
why a charter revision commission is convened.
You could do that, you could delete it.
So just to recap and make it, put a bow on it, I'm going back to chapter 3 and on
Changing the title.
Changing the title.
to elected officers of
Boards and commissions.
boards and commissions.
But you would, why don't we just call
Actually,
elected
elected-
officers? I mean, what, they're elected to boards
Actually,
and
why
commissions
don't we
anyways,
just
so.
say elected boards and commissions?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
it doesn't,
or-
yeah, it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
officers,
Yeah.
elected boards and commissions.
Yeah,
Oh, because then they would mirror appointed boards and commissions.
Right.
He's a smart one, he is.
We're talking minor corrections, right?
I think this makes a
And then
lot of
taking out
difference.
304 referencing going, what?
This is a game changer.
This is gonna kill the whole thing.
this is driving the vote out right here.
And
Right up on the rocks.
Well, do you change 304 to the language about alternates, or do you just put that alternate language somewhere
No, I think it was in 302.
in 302? Okay, so you're gonna add alternate,
301,
301.
section 301 general for the language on the alternate
301A.
alternate seating.
So where does this chair derive the authority?
From the
It's
state
self-imposed.
statute. No, I think it's in the state
What's
statute.
the brutally honest
Kidding.
answer? They just do it.
Self-input, they just do it.
Well, then we should put that in here.
do we have a section where they define when you choose a chair, or is that just procedures and practice?
That's in
Their
statute.
It's under procedures.
Okay, so it doesn't.
Rochambeau section.
Okay. So we're good with those changes? And then
Yeah, we got more.
on Jacqueline's, we had in 401, we deleted here and after referred to as selectmen, and then we use the term. So 401. What do we use multiple times? First or board of
Refer to them as
selectmen?
selectmen, so why do we delete them? Why do we delete here and after refer to as the selectmen and then use the phrasing the selectmen?
You even look at the new section 408,
Oh.
it's the ordinance proposed for the board of selectmen, it's like, yeah, that's right.
So we either have to put that back in or stop calling them the selectmen. Wow.
We either need to call them all the time Board of Selectmen or put that term back in?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think we should put it back.
put it back in,
I think that's the easiest way.
that's the easiest way.
That's the easiest way.
So Franklin, you're gonna add here and after referred to as selectmen back in.
Okay. Yep, hereinafter referred to as the selectmen.
Six
Do
foot,
we, wait, hold
Yeah.
on, just one question. Do we somewhere say, because if you went on consisting of the first selectman or first selectman woman, do we later on say here and refer to as the first?
Yeah,
Is
that's
that-
under,
Where is that?
that's at the beginning.
that's
Yeah.
at the notes, chapter 2.
Yeah.
I thought we had put that in somewhere, and we.
Yeah.
We did, yeah.
So that
Yes, it's under section 302.
302.
A, subsection A, a
302A1.
first selectman
Great,
or
thank you.
first select
Okay,
woman,
great.
here and after the first.
You know, somewhere.
And then it has to say first.
So 614F regarding personnel matters.
That was more of a.
So actually, I'm sorry to do this, but shouldn't 302A subsection 2 say 5 members of the Board of Selectmen here and after referred to as selectmen? And then
Yeah.
Yeah.
leave it out of
Do it
401.
Right.
that way.
Cause then that's the earlier.
'Cause it's the earlier
time,
version?
Yeah, well, and we put here and after the first.
Franklin, you got that change?
Should that be in parentheses to mirror, or should that be via comma?
I
yeah,
think it's in parentheses.
it's in parentheses.
Should be
Gotcha.
set off by M dash.
Alright, I'm making that change to section
I've been doing this too
302
long.
A1.
Now we know AI did it.
You should teach my course, my drafting course.
So 614F, you're questioning whether we took it out?
No,
So Franklin, that means we're not adding that language back into 401.
Yes.
There's-
Okay.
all
I made
of
it
them
to 302A2, here and after the selectmen, so both of them say first.
Oh, no, that's okay. All of the paragraphs have like collective bargaining period, other duties period, and I didn't know, like personnel matters is kind of up top. I didn't know if we had removed personnel matters or that personnel matters that was left in the paragraph above is supposed to go in the new language of F, cause every single subsection has like a brief description of what it is
Yeah,
before it goes on to the language.
I should probably say what that in front of it, right?
This one is
614F.
614.
You're saying it should say
Personal.
Well,
personnel.
personnel matters is not redlined, so that's just,
Oh, yeah, it just looks ugly
looks ugly
on
right
your
now.
section,
Okay.
but when I do the clean, yeah, so we will provide the clean version to make this 10 times easier to read. It does show F personnel matters, exactly how it should be,
Okay.
but it's the way that it looks like with the red line makes it look ugly like that, like it doesn't. But it does say F personnel matters like all the others, is that what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay,
Makes it stand.
yep,
so
thanks for noting that.
clerical thing on 615, it just needs to be changed to first instead of selectmen.
Okay,
We'll talk about the glossary in a minute. We're gonna go to Jesse's part.
Can I say one more
Yeah.
thing?
Oh, please.
So for 403, I don't remember if there was a reason why we made it A even though there's no B or C. I know-
There are after the next page.
Oh, sorry, okay, you're right, never mind.
That's okay. It's just the way the formatting
Yeah.
is coming up. So Jesse's comments, 301 is clerical.
Yeah, I think 402C is the only one that might not be.
402C common reference.
And it's only nitpicking because I tried to look it up and it's subdivision 6 instead of subsection 6.
That's awesome.
I'll default to the attorney in the room.
It should be easy for a person to look at it. That's the whole idea.
So it should say subdivision.
Yeah, that's just how they call it in the general statutes. I guess it's.
Then we
Yeah.
should mirror
better
the
for
same
parts of-
language.
Okay, so we're gonna change that. 404 is clerical thing, right? It
Yeah,
should
I
have
think it goes
letters.
into-
Well, that's the whole thing about formatting. You either need to pick numbers or letters. So however the formatting rules are,
Well, does
Well,
the
some-
section number is a number, so then they should all be letters.
so
And then
it
the
starts with a
subdivisions
number,
are-
then it goes to
Then
letters, and then it
And then
goes to
alternate
numbers
numbers,
again,
yeah.
Franklin.
Right.
Yes,
So
Okay.
numbers, letters, numbers.
So like 403 should be, 404 should become letters.
Right, A, 404 A.
404 should become letters.
Yep, yeah.
yes,
Okay.
404, change the letter.
Yep, caps are lowercase.
The 502 A14, that's clerical, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. And 616,
Was, they're just numbers in between the sentence, but nothing else seems to do that. Yes, the design review board shall approve.
so is that just a formatting thing, or do we want?
Yeah, I don't think we need the numbers because everything else describes
Right.
their duties and doesn't number it out.
We should probably stick to either upper or lower case too, you know, 502 is capital A,
Yeah.
408 is lowercase a. Not consistent in that.
So lowercase a, because I think that's how it starts with chapter 2, everything is lowercase.
I don't outline.
Okay.
In the, what's the beginning of this thing called now? The index, the table of contents, 609 needs to be eliminated. And then you're gonna cross-reference these, Franklin, right, to make sure the sections are correct
Oh, absolutely.
in the table of contents? Cause they've all changed. In some cases, they've changed. So then we have to, the last thing to talk about is the glossary / index. Where it's gonna be housed and what it's gonna be called. And what are the defined terms that are gonna be in there. So on the last page of the red line is under section 208 is what we've been accumulating as words. You had mentioned, Bob, that this could just be an appendix and not a glossary. Is that what you said last time? A couple times
Yeah.
ago?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
So are we okay calling it appendix?
As used in this charter, the following definition shall apply or something.
I'm gonna be appalled to the punch on this
I was keeping my mouth
one. Do we really need this? I mean, do we really need something that defines employees, which we've already defined in the statute, and there's a dozen other examples of that. Do we really need a glossary?
But what we need is if it's not defined or it's not clear, it needs to be defined somewhere that's easy for people to see. That's all we really need to do. But it has to have a definition and a meaning that is consistent throughout the charter. Now, if you want to put it in within the charter, you can do it that way.
Either way, I'm curious why we need to
Well,
define Board of
well, like-
Selectmen when that's
I
all we
think
talk
We
about.
had that one, but
or
like
yeah.
annual budget versus town budget, I think is an important distinction that's not gonna be obvious to people just
Right.
reading it. So maybe within the
Okay.
document, specify that, but yeah, I think some of them are probably,
Yeah, some
we
of
don't
them we
need.
don't need, but
But-
some of them we do need to
Yeah.
define.
Even if they're defined within the document, they'll be defined once and then used in subsequent
Yeah.
sections, and it can be very tricky to figure out what it is, so it is useful to have a glossary,
Yeah. And
An
the
appendix.
An
an
appendix,
appendix.
and
It is
the
useful.
cause we can have appendicitis.
It is, yeah. It's
Vestigial.
vestigial.
and the way it's normally done is if it's defined somewhere and it's buried somewhere, we still have it in the list of defined terms because it's easy for people to look at it immediately. That's the reason why we have it, for two reasons. It should be easy for people to read and it should be, the meaning should be consistent.
So who, are you gonna define these?
Well, maybe we should go through and
Well,
see which
Lisa's
ones
gonna
we wanna
define them.
keep
Which
and
ones
which
we wanna
ones we
keep?
don't want.
Yeah, let's go through and figure out which ones you want in and which
Well, we decided we wanted annual and town budget defined.
That's right.
That makes sense because it's used and you're not quite sure what it is.
Have we already obsoleted the administrative officers and town officers?
Probably.
Yeah.
Is that the administrative?
Yeah, so
official?
that
Yeah.
we don't need
And we don't need to define administrative
officers
officers.
again.
We will need that.
Now, an issue did come up this week, maybe last week, about the word contract. Charter says that the town manager is empowered to sign all contracts as approved by the Board of Selectmen. That doesn't happen. If there's a copier contract, it's signed or, minor administrative contract, none of those go to the Board of Selectmen. And it's always been interpreted that if it's included in the regular annual budget as an appropriation, that's the approval for that expenditure. And this came up, it was an agreement with an employee, severance agreement. For lots of reasons, of employees being severed from employment. And agrees to leave with, certain benefits upon leaving. And Mike Harrington says, is that one of the contracts that has to go to the Board of Selectmen? I said, gee, I hope not. I hope the Board of Selectmen is not taking up severance agreements because it's a personnel matter. Whatever the reason is, you don't wanna bring it to the Board of Selectmen and say, well, why are you severing ties with this person? Well, they did this, they did that. That's not what you want in front of the Board of Selectmen. And what if they say no? They don't approve the contract, you gotta keep the person. So I only mention that because it's something that's come up and we have it in here in the contract. Maybe this is a good use of the defined term, contract meaning contract with third-party vendors above a certain something that sort of limits what the Board of Selectmen looks at in terms
Well,
of contract.
So in your copier example, okay, if the town manager is gonna sign with XYZ copy company to lease our copiers and it's within the budget, that's great. But if we're gonna buy a payloader or a bucket truck or something that's hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it's in the capital expenditures, do the Board of Selectmen have to sign that?
Once that capital expenditure
Is approved.
whether you pick a yellow payloader or a red payloader, doesn't go back before the Board of Selectmen, never has. It's
So-
always been,
Do you define contracts then as contracts that are outside of approved budget and capital expenditures?
or those contracts which relate to personnel matters, something so that
Right,
we can sync up what actually happens with what the charter says.
so what's the difference between a contract or a legal? Well, a legal agreement's a contract, right?
Yes,
A legal settlement is different,
no, that's a contract.
that's still a contract.
But maybe we want, in terms of defining which contracts do and don't need Board of Selectmen approval, maybe we should leave it to the Board of Selectmen to establish the
parameters.
parameters.
Above
I don't wanna set
$1 million.
parameters for them.
Right.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Should be putting dollar amounts in here.
Yeah, something that just says contracts come to the Board of Selectmen according
To their
parameters.
policies.
And specifically exclude personnel matters because collective bargaining agreements by statute go before the board. Certain employment agreements, when you hire, police chief maybe and some others go to the board.
If we have legal settlements, say from like a
Legal settlements go to the board.
they go to the board, like a zoning issue that goes to court,
Yes, those go to the
those
board.
go to the board because it has budget
Well, those
impact,
go to the zoning commission, but legal settlements,
the settlement of it. If there's a
No,
settlement,
that was the issue
Not
with
for
the,
zoning.
right,
we talked about
not for
earlier,
planning and
they
zoning,
weren't
by
being told.
statute it goes to zoning. But any litigation that results in a settlement, including tax appeals, perfect example. Every single tax appeal that gets settled,
right, goes
we
to
have
the,
to go to the board. But that's under the town attorney section, that's not under the town manager section. I just raise it because we should probably correct the language of the charter to make it clear what's currently being done. Or not, I mean, they could say, oh no, we wanna see every copy of your contract, I mean, I can't imagine, but they could say that.
You could say that.
And could
They
the board of
have the
selectmen
ability
just
to
set a limit themselves? I
They
guess.
could, yeah,
It doesn't really apply,
contracts
but-
according to a policy to be set by the
Yeah.
Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
I mean, state and federal contracts all go to the board. Because it says in the charter that state and federal contracts have to go to the board.
Just a quick word count, contracts used 18 times a year. That's not just used for approval, it's used
Yeah,
all over the
yeah.
place, so if you just start defining contract already limited there, then it's not gonna apply to every.
The other thing that applies here, I think, is the purchasing policy, which is established by the Board of Selectmen. That outlines that the town manager or the finance director can sign contracts. So maybe that's the way to do it. Contracts come to the board per the purchasing policy. The purchasing policy is not an ordinance, it's a resolution passed by the Board of Selectmen. So that may be a way to get at it, to reference the purchasing policy specifically. And then that's all you have to do, because the purchasing policy is clear as to how that happens. I just raise it as something that we should probably, while we have the opportunity, clean up.
So you're just gonna define the word contract in here.
Well, I think we're not really talking about that, right? You're talking about more substantively we're back into the body of the
Back into the
charter,
body of
not
the
not just-
charter?
I think this, right, yeah, I think this just kind of
Yeah.
triggered,
Yeah, 502.
A conversation.
Yeah.
It triggered it was Mike Harrington who called and said, I don't know, do I have to bring this to the Board of Selectmen? And I said,
Well, where is this in the?
It's in
No.
502D, there's
502D?
that's the one that just says the approval of the board of selectmen is subject to other limitations. And
Let's see, the contract.
I'm looking up the purchasing policy to see if that gives us some help here.
can we just take a acceptance provided by purchasing? Well, the purchasing policy is may or may not be
Yeah,
done by the.
yeah.
It says, be it resolved by the Board of Selectmen that in order to amplify section 812 of the town charter and provide a systematic and uniform standard.
I don't think that applies, that's the town manager, and what the town manager can do.
That was expenditures and accounting.
You don't think should be a different spot for
Yeah, that's a big sense.
I mean, every purchase order is a contract.
You can just leave it up to the Board of Selectmen as to which ones they want to see and which ones they don't want to see. It's impossible to put that, all those details into the charter.
A 161-6, awarding of contract. Finance director or town manager is authorized to award contracts. So it might be as simple as referencing the purchasing policy, which is their policy. And they can change that if they choose to make it more expansive.
So would you reference that in section 4 of the chart?
I think it's in the town manager section,
Well, the town manager section gives him the authority,
contracts.
Contracts, but
Right.
it's there's
but this, yeah.
federal, state
Yeah.
bodies and then any person or any other body, politic or corporate.
That's everything.
Is it? That's because I know if you ask me, what is a body corporate, I defer.
is another defined term.
LLC, it could be as little as an LLC.
When Mike first called me, I said, oh, that's not covered, but that's just state and federal contracts. But then we looked at it, I said, no, it's any person, that's,
Yeah, but it's weird, isn't it?
it is
That
weird.
you authorize, I mean, why write it that way if that's what you're aiming at? If the point is he can sign a contract with anybody, why do we start with the federal government, which you hardly ever do, then the state and we
Including
know
but
it
not
down
limited
to
Yeah, I like
ordering
Any
pizza
person.
for-
Yeah,
Or
the
other
phrase with
public
the approval of the
corporation.
Board of Selectmen is the problem. I don't
Yeah.
mind the town manager having very broad authority to sign contracts, that's the way it should be.
Mhm.
But maybe the fix is approval of the Board of Selectmen as set forth in the purchasing policy to be adopted by the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
And
Or
then-
add that to that section.
Yeah.
Maybe even broader though, so that we're not referencing something specific in another document that could change, so just like the approval of the Board of Selectmen subject to such policies set by the board, you know,
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that where
Yeah.
it's referencing that they have
Yeah,
the
right.
ability
That
to
would be
decide
fine.
which ones they wanna review.
Because purchasing policy is not as broad as the definition of contract and who they can enter into contracts with. There's lots of contracts that don't involve purchases
Or money.
or money.
Yeah.
So I think leaving it up to the Board of Selectmen to limit that as they see fit is probably a good idea.
Sure, you're proposing just adding language into this section that says kind of after where it's contained in this charter and in general statutes that is consistent with the Board of Selectmen's policy.
Yeah.
Or maybe, Board of Selectmen is subject to, like
With the
Jen said.
approval of the Board of Selectmen subject to
The policy set by the Board of
policies
Selectmen.
set forth.
Such policy is set by the
Subject to
board.
and consistent with the policy set forth.
We'll come up with something,
Yeah.
that's the idea.
Yeah, 'cause you already have with the approval of the Board of Selectmen.
So it shouldn't be defined in an appendix then. I think it's kind of a broad term and it's really
Yeah.
specific to how
Yeah.
it's used.
So we're not gonna,
Yeah,
we
if you
get
said it
nitty
comes
gritty
out-
that in the appendix.
The idea here is that the power to enter into a contract on behalf of the town is delegated from the Board of Selectmen to the town manager. I get that, but you don't wanna put a stack of contracts at every meeting in front of the Board of Selectmen and say, please approve these so I can,
Never get home.
reorder paper towels,
Check with my brother-in-law, he says that.
Okay, so I don't know why I'm working from the bottom up, but that seems how we're going on this glossary, or the appendix rather, emergency.
So we already have that.
Don't, isn't it defined by state statute, so we don't need it as a appendix item, correct?
So do
We could say emergency as defined by
Yeah.
state
Yeah.
statute.
Yeah.
You just leave it at that?
I feel like this is related to when we talked about who gets to declare an emergency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things.
Town employees,
Defined in section.
901 and 902 of this chart.
which didn't change, I don't think.
If you have an appendix to define these things, why are you just going back and saying, look here, where we defined it?
Yeah,
Because those words are used somewhere else.
somewhere else, yeah, it's just an ease situation, but we have to be careful not to define everything.
So we have on here employees / town, didn't we just talk about town employee? We only need to say town employees once, right?
Yeah, it may have been like a description for that one
description.
above it.
Okay. Organizational meeting, that is a little bit,
Yeah, I remember that.
we talked about organizational meeting a couple of times.
Yeah, the organizational meeting is the meeting that
There's 36 employees.
first Monday of December following.
And as it goes down to 29.
Right. And that's how you're gonna define it, but it's defined in the charter
It's
then,
around
right,
30
already?
days.
Yeah.
Don't
I
we
feel like
say
it's
this
better
is
if we just put these
And they're all
specific
in different
definitions the
contexts
first
when
time
you
the
look
word
at
comes up and then
Absolutely.
you know, I mean, I get what she's saying that there's a secondary place where you could see the list of defined terms, but I feel like if you're reading this document,
So what you're saying is, so the first time we mention annual budget, we just define it right there in the charter,
parentheses,
in parentheses.
Yeah, like for organizational meeting, it would be on 402A.
I think you're gonna find though with some of those that it makes the drafting kind of awkward. Just stick the the definition into the middle of it. And that's the benefit of having a glossary and
It's
defined
just the
term.
ease of looking,
Right.
looking.
So if, so far we have emergency, town employees, town budget, annual budget, organizational meeting. I mean, I'm not gonna die on the hill on this, so
So far, we have them, those are the ones we're keeping.
keeping.
Emergency, town employees,
We don't really need to define
Contract.
Board of Selectmen because we don't refer
Annual
to them as
budget.
Board of Selectmen anymore.
Right.
They're referred to as selectmen.
Okay.
You don't need action.
And then what did we say on contract or agreement?
Contract.
We're not,
We're not
No.
defining.
The
We're gonna
appendix.
fix the language.
Gotcha.
Acting town manager
We define it, but
is only mentioned once.
it's already mentioned once.
Yeah, as long as it's not mentioned in 34 different places.
I don't think it is.
Budget's mentioned 51 times.
Is it?
I'll shut
It
that.
is?
Are we
Is it mentioned
really gonna
somewhere?
define
Yeah,
town employees
some of
when we
those
have an
are in
entire
there.
section
But are they
called
all
town
the same?
employees?
No, I think we were just saying we weren't gonna do
I
it.
think she's keeping.
Oh.
Acting
know.
No,
town
we, I
manager.
thought we just said that we weren't gonna put a
Eight.
definition for something
Section
that
eight.
references
I'm
the
with you.
section where we define it, because that's not a
I'm with you.
definition.
Education,
No, I'm with you. I'm
budget, the board of selectmen on.
And then I don't know that it's worth doing this before,
Yeah,
like I
Absolutely.
originally envisioned it as
Like
a
laundry
comprehensive
list.
list of stuff, but I don't know that it makes sense to do this for like 4 terms.
I mean, really, when you look at it, we're talking about organizational meeting, annual budget, and town budget are the things that we're really looking to define.
Now, are those things mentioned all within the same area? If so, then we can have the definition.
Looks like budget's only mentioned in section 8.
Okay, then it can stay there. If it's mentioned in 50 different places and it's all over the place, then you're going to need to put it at the end. But if it's mentioned in the same area, then we can define it in there.
I think the annual budget and the town budget is probably, out of all of those terms, are the most confusing terms for someone to understand the difference between the two,
Yes.
because do we just, does it work better to define the town budget as the budget presented by the Board of Selectmen?
Yeah, after it says budget selected by board of selectmen, parentheses,
As
town
pres-
budget,
town budget,
parentheses,
and then
Annual
the
town
annual budget as presented by the Board of Selectmen and the
Finance.
Board of Finance.
The Board of
shall
Education.
include the,
No, cause that includes Board of Education.
yeah, which shall include the
The
town
annual budget
budget,
includes
board
the
of
Board of
education budget, and the capital.
Yeah, so you could say as the annual budget is presented by the Board of Finance and the town budget as presented by the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, we can put it right in the section.
So then we don't need this glossary.
Well, you have to mention that the Board of Education
Probably want
budget
that
is
tied in,
presented,
yeah.
it's part of it. The annual
Well, but
budget
the-
has both.
Yes, but what the Board of Finance is presenting is the annual budget.
They present the annual budget at like the public hearing. I mean, you could say it but that way, but I think it's more confusing to people, then they say, well, where's the Board of Ed?
right,
Or could you say that the annual budget as presented by the Board of Finance, which includes the town budget and the Board of Education budget
In the capital budget.
and the capital
Yeah,
budget?
you got capital, you got the specials, you got the Board of Education, you got the town budget. So, there's a number of things, when it used to be published in the newspaper, you would have all those major sections. And the same thing what appears on the ballot. Basically, on the ballot, there's like 4 things on the ballot.
But the first time you really see that is in the Board of Finance recommended budget. Until then, it's the elements
Yeah, but
of that budget.
in the what we're talking about is how we use these terms in the charter, right?
Right.
And how they appear, and
So people
and
understand
then,
it.
there are provisions that govern the adoption of the annual budget, which is what Paul was describing. There are provisions about the town budget, not so much about the Board of Education budget, but a little, so we could define that too.
So instead of having a separate appendix, do we add a small section to the budget area that defines each budget?
Could try it and see what it looks
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
I mean, that's probably the logical place to put it, instead of waiting till the end to say, hey, surprise, we've been talking about this, and now this is what they
You
really
should
mean.
know.
You should have known all along.
Oh, but when
Well,
you're
cause we
reading,
wanted to
you know,
avoid having
Flipping
to
it
flip to
back.
different pages to figure out what things are, and I think it makes sense to
This is
see.
section 802, budget preparation, and
It could be included as a section of that.
you say the annual budget.
Yeah, town management
Yes,
budget for
annual budget
each
should
department,
be-
office, and agency of the town. This budget shall be referred to as the town budget. Board of Education set forth, this budget shall be the Board of Education budget. Combination of all these shall be referred to as the annual budget. Something like that.
something like that, yeah, annual budget for me,
Do
just,
it in 802, which is right up front.
Yeah, just add it to 802.
Annual budgets first used in the automatic referendum, section 407. Adoption of the annual budget,
It's the word,
long before 802.
Well, then we could say as defined in 802.
that's right, so you'd have to take it there and then define it there.
And then we don't have to add a glossary or an appendix, because those are really the two big
Those are the two major ones.
major ones.
where did we say defining the budget? Did you say earlier where
We're
it's
gonna
first
do it in
mentioned?
802,
or
and then when
802?
it's referenced earlier in 407 or whatever, we'll do a cluster.
Okay.
I'm just saying, kind of as defined in section 802 here,
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's where it's supposed to, 47.
instead of
Mhm.
flipping to the appendix, you
Use
use
quite a bit of
802.
yeah,
Just say it once, you have to go through.
that's a more logical.
No, but that's how it's typically done, to say, as
So-
defined
Okay.
in, yeah, but we.
No, we got one more thing to
So
do.
it doesn't belong.
What?
This letter. Section 502A16, which actually would be 17.
What letter? Hold on.
This was in the, at the very end of the package. It talked about what we were talking about as far as the town manager going to the boards and commissions to consult regarding the annual performance review
Oh, right.
for their liaison. You called them
Yeah.
administrative officials, but basically that's what I was talking about. I think we had agreed we were gonna put that in under the town manager's responsibility under 502.
Under
I think you
six,
said 16, Franklin, but I think it would actually be 17.
it'd be 17.
And this would read, when the charter assigns direct responsibility of an administrative official to a town board or commission, the town manager shall consult with the appropriate board and commission for the annual performance review process of the respective board or commission's assigned administrative official.
What would be
I
an
think we
example
would-
of an administrative official being a
Finance director, the
Town,
zoning planning. It really
So
would
the
be
si-
just
the
for Board
finance
of Finance,
director-
Board of Ed, zoning, planning, and I think Inland has one.
So I would agree that the Board of Finance should be consulted on the
Right.
finance directors.
Right, then that's really where we were trying to, instead of having it just under the
one
Board of Finance, it also should include zoning, like the zoning, planning and others. Although, should it say the appropriate board and commission? I thought we had talked about just the chair.
Yeah, the chair.
The chair of
So they're
the,
not going to the
Yeah, you're not
entire
going-
board, so
Okay.
6 people are piling
There'd be no
on.
way to do that.
Same thing with the library, for the library director.
there'd be 9 of them to
Right,
talk to.
that'd be like a little tough.
So
pretty
if
fast.
if we add this in administrative official or capitalized terms, they have to be defined.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you said.
So if you have administrative official as capitalized terms, we have to have a definition for it.
Administrative official as defined in section, whatever it is here.
Yeah.
Where we have those references.
In the new section 70,
Seven, yeah.
It's in the packet, not in
not in the
So,
Oh, yes.
702.
No.
Administrative officials
Oh.
as defined in, under chapter 7, as identified in chapter 7.
Could this language be?
702.
I understand your concept, but I've also,
Well,
you know,
Mark's
we've had some false concept
Yeah.
about who has direct responsibility to a board or commission.
I had
But I
said
know we've
earlier
gone-
liaison.
Yeah, because we've gone back and forth, not necessarily here, about whether the director of finance reports to the Board of Finance.
Right.
So I would just like this to be a little clearer because I'm excited about what you're proposing. I'd like it to
Well,
be-
we had talked about this at the last meeting, and actually we had talked about having that in it's not that these people report to the boards.
Yeah,
It's only for the town manager to consult with them with respect to their performance
I
appraisal.
understand that, but I don't know what in the charter assigns direct responsibility of the finance director to the Board of Finance.
I think the
Well,
term,
that's not the way I had written it,
the
but
term
but go
that's
ahead.
used is provides staff support to. For instance,
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
finance
Yeah.
director
Yeah.
provides
Right,
staff
staff
support to.
That's good.
Same with planning, same with zoning.
Same for the
Inland
All
wetlands.
of
inland wetlands.
It's
Design review.
staffing those commissions.
Right. So for example, when they do the review of the town planner, they would be consulting with zoning, planning, DRB.
How's he working out?
Yeah.
Is he getting stuff to you on time?
Right.
So you'll rework that
Yeah.
to include that?
Okay,
That's a nice
These are
addition.
real-time edits happening.
live.
We're using NI here.
Fast fingers Franklin.
Okay, so the next agenda item is the next meeting, but I wanna just talk about timeline,
Yes.
okay? Cause we're done.
I would humbly propose the
Those-
following.
I'm gonna humbly propose probably the same thing, but go ahead.
Well, I'll let you do it.
No, go ahead.
Franklin and I worked diligently over the course of the next, was it 2 weeks?
A month.
A month?
No, it's 17.
Oh, they want,
A year.
they want the,
To put together the final draft red line version of everything. Present it to you, hopefully a week in advance of the meeting. You all read through it and say, perfect, don't change a thing. And then you come to the meeting and you say, you go through the same process you did here. And you say, this is our recommended revised town charter. And then what we will do based on that is we'll do a red line version and a clean version, because you won't, it's kind of hard to read. And then we need a report. And you tell Franklin and myself, you guys draft a report and bring it to us. And any smaller group of you that wants to participate in that, we're welcome, because that's how we did it last time, isn't it? And then not at the next meeting, the meeting after that, you got the revised charter, you got the first draft report. And then once those two things are done, you're ready to stamp it into the town clerk, cause you get another bite at the apple. Cause it goes to the Board of Selectmen, they talk about it, they love it, don't change
they have
anything.
their public hearings.
Have their public hearing, do we need another public
I'm so
hearing?
excited.
Yeah, I thought
We need another
We
public
need a
hearing.
Need
public
another
hearing.
one, yeah.
Okay, so not a bad idea to set that now.
Prior to
Yep.
submission.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you've got the next December meeting,
Well,
It's 2
this-
days, you're gonna give it to us a week before, you got 2 days.
You have 2 days to do it.
not a problem.
Franklin's on it, yeah.
And the
Real-time
way,
edits.
the way the
Sleep
statute
over.
reads is public hearing prior to submission to the town clerk. So you can set that public hearing, you could even set that public hearing for your next meeting if you wanted to. But it's probably better to have a public hearing on, this is the revised charter we all love, what do you think? And that would be the first one in January.
So 12/17, you're gonna have the red line,
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much
it's pretty much done. And then we're gonna say, okay, we're good to go.
set the public hearing,
We can set the public hearing now.
or you could do it 12/17, you could set the public hearing date for early
Okay.
January, right?
You can't set the public hearing now, it's a special meeting, they can't take on new business.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Correct, what he said.
So on the agenda for the 12/17 is to set the public hearing.
With the goal of wrapping all of this up by the end of January.
And public hearing needs 2 weeks' notice, correct?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay, I don't know.
We should give people
10 days.
notice.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanna, I wanna clarify, cause we had some question on the dates last time. We have to have everything, public hearing done and this submitted by the town clerk by February 26th.
I double checked it last week cause it's one of those things that you wake up in a cold sweat in the middle of the day.
Yeah,
And it's 16 months from the date that the panels put together, which we
Right.
determined was, I believe, October of 2024. And I think February 26th is the date.
okay,
I always like to be a month early in case I
Yeah.
counted wrong. So if you could think about getting this in the hands of the town clerk by January 26th, we wouldn't have that problem.
okay,
We met in October.
No,
no,
that's one of,
that's
No,
what,
the
was-
Board
it
of
was
Selectmen
put
said,
That's when they chose us.
here's our new
No,
charter.
but that's the start
the
date,
start
Yeah.
date.
16 months from
From that
October.
date. 2024. I
Yeah.
didn't trust myself counting, so I went and did one of those date counters online. But
If it were, say, October 26th. Yeah, okay.
So,
that's what I'm saying, let's get it done in January, so we
January.
have to think about that.
so we have our 12/17 meeting, at that meeting, we set the public hearing date.
Can we send out a poll on our availability for January?
We have to meet,
Not here.
No, not here, no,
we have to meet
before the,
I'm not here.
before the public hearing to adopt the draft,
You
right?
can drop the draft December 17th.
Yeah.
On the 17th,
Can you have it by Zoom?
okay,
But we also have to meet to adopt the report.
That you could do at your January meeting.
so we have to set, so legally, I can send out a doodle poll for a January meeting date to, and that's the meeting, the goal would be to approve the draft, not the draft, the report.
And hold a public hearing.
Report and hold public hearing. So I will send out, I will look at, as now that they've all been sworn in, have they set their calendars for 2026? I know Board of
Board of
Finance
Select-
is doing it
The
this week.
organizational meeting.
At their organizational meetings, they've done that. Okay, so are those published on the town website yet?
Don't think so, but I can.
Well, no, cause
Probably
usually when I do the
access to it.
doodle poll, I try to avoid Board of Selectmen and Board of
Yes.
Finance dates.
I'm gonna double check before I say anything. There's a chance that they wait until a little bit further into the,
It would be in their minutes though, from their meeting.
oh, well, the 2026 Board of Selectmen meeting schedule, our acting town manager already posted it on the Board of Selectmen
Okay.
webpage. That is public, you can check that
And
out.
Board of Finance, their meeting dates are in their meeting packet for Wednesday.
Yeah. You're right,
Yeah, it
or
was-
no,
it was
no,
done
if it's
On
in
the
the
night of the
packet,
public
then
hearing, you could hold your public hearing.
it was in last, is it
You
in
would
packet?
take into
No, that's-
account all
No,
the
she's leaving.
comments,
I thought we were.
and you can
Did you hear a
adopt the
Like I just.
I was getting prepared.
revised town charter and the report that night,
Okay,
and tell Franklin to file it the next day,
okay.
and it starts the clock ticking up to the voice left.
Okay, so I'll send out a doodle poll based on, for our January meeting, based on meeting dates that don't conflict with Board of Finance or Board of Selectmen. Zoning wouldn't have their stuff up yet for any public hearings on applications, 'cause-
check Board of Education. too.
and Board of Education. Are yours, yeah, is yours published yet?
Yeah, ours should be
Okay.
up.
Did we determine an effective date?
Cause that's like hurting cats trying to find a date that doesn't conflict with any of those boards.
Charter would become
So it's like Saturday morning, no, I'm
You're
kidding.
Seven, I don't know.
Okay,
Sunday at noon would be great.
we've done everything else,
Be in
right?
spirits.
Do I have a motion?
second.
A motion for what, Paul?
Adjourn. The standard, the only one at the end of the meeting.
Jackie has objections.
For over 40 years, SCM has been the voice of our town.
bringing us together through local programming,
Education and live broadcasts.
SEM isn't just about television.
It's about empowering our community.
Ensuring our voices are heard during government meetings.
and celebrating milestones.
like our high school graduations.
But today, SEM faces a challenge.
Our funding structure is based on television subscriptions. And it's no secret, People have been cutting the cord.
With a shift to internet-only subscriptions,
SEM receives less revenue.
Even though all our programming is freely available online.
We need your support.
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 Your donation can make a difference.
It will ensure that SCM remains open.
Continues to educate our youth
And keeps our community informed.
Thanks to SEM, I've been honing my creative skills, helping me work towards my college degree.
SCM is crucial for keeping our community connected.
SCM isn't just here to broadcast local events. They're actually preserving Simsbury's history.
Join us.
Join us in preserving Simsbury's voice.
Simsbury's voice.
Together we can ensure that SCM continues to thrive.
For generations to come.
Visit our website
Or scan the QR code on your screen to make your donation.
Every contribution
Counts.
Thank you for supporting Simsbury Community Media.
where your town
Your schools and
and your government come together.